And we have now come to the question and answer time. All right? So it's your time to share with us some lingering thoughts or issue of concern that you like to raise, or even comments.
It seems that whenever we talk to them about goal setting, their aspiration of what they want to be in future, from very young preschool to now P4 and P6, whenever they pen down at that moment for the last few months, a few weeks, they don't present that kind of perseverance and lasting effect. So they do foresee what they want to do, and for that moment when we discuss, maybe for 2 weeks, they are very motivated, but it dies very fast. And we have to redo the whole cycle again with them. And we always take the term breaks for them to, from young, they draw what they want to be when they can't write yet. So as they grow older now, they write, but it just dies fast. The perseverance and the long-lasting effect, I'm still wondering how can I keep that going without repeating the whole dialogue session with them.
Okay, thanks Doris for asking the question. I think he is Mr. Ong and you can just call me Jeffrey. I think the question is directed at me because it's about motivation. I think it's okay to have ongoing conversation because developmentally a child's interest will be quite different, especially when they're younger. They have a lot of interest, right? Because they have a lot of fantasy and a lot of dreams. But along the way, as they grow older, the interest will narrow a little bit and you will crystallize a little bit more. So I think it's okay for younger children to have different interests. The important thing is that that interest drive the person to set goals. And even in schools, the goal setting will not be just done at the start of the year. You notice that if you talk to your child, why is it that every time there's goal setting at the start of the term, when they come back from a holiday, again the teacher may go through this whole exercise of, so what is going to be your goals for this new term? This is the whole idea of working intermediate steps. Because if you look at so far ahead, it's so far ahead. Talk about careers to our young children. It's so far ahead. Nobody can imagine that. So it's okay to bring it down to looking at the intermediate steps and to have those conversations. I think you'll be happy if your child keep talking to you and keep having this conversation. There will be a time in their teens when they no longer want to talk to you. So have those conversations.
Right, thank you. The second question.
Hello, my name is Tan Hao. I was just wondering, my son has attention deficit disorder. He's actually been coping amazingly well at school, I think, but with medication, with some help. I'm just wondering that when he reaches secondary school, whether there's any resources or how could I support him, or is there any particular school or whatever that has such resources?
Okay, thank you for the question. Coincidentally, my school is a school which is a resource school for autism spectrum disorder. So my point is that I think even in the secondary schools, we have the resource, schools are designated as resource schools, and also many schools have what we call the allied educator for learning and behavioral support. All right? These are specialist officers who are trained to support students with special learning needs. They may need to learn very differently, or they may need one-to-one attention. So for example, using my school as an example, I have a few students with autism. So what happens is that I have my AED, allied educator, working very closely with the parents and with the teachers to establish certain routines or certain strategies to help the child to learn. We recognize it's different. It's not just slow or fast. It's just different. So it's about using very different strategies, having sometimes time out, or having very different worksheets even to help the child to learn. And I just want to assure you the support is there. Again, it's good if you already know up front that your child may need special support, to find out more which schools can provide that support. Because again, schools are different. We focus on different areas. So again, do that homework, check with the school. Usually they can share with you what they have in place.
Right, thank you, Mr.
I think if I may also add that developmentally, sometimes ADHD symptoms do get better when they move into secondary school. And the other point to note is that whatever coping strategies and classroom strategies that you have worked out with the primary school teachers, it's important to also bring this information and work with the schools being admitted to for secondary school, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are certain things that may work well. Again, knowing how the child is being wired, what will be successful, what will be less successful strategies. Bring that to the secondary school and have a conversation. It's important to work with the school to make sure that the transition is smooth.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mrs. Uma. Actually, my question is to any one of the principals. Now, while selecting a secondary school, I'm aware that CCAs plays a very important role. Now, my child is currently in primary 4, but I'm quite curious to know, because I was being told by some of my friends that you put him in abacus, or maybe you put in this CCA or that CCA, it gives some points for selecting your in the admission for your secondary school. Is it true, sir, or is just So I just wanted to know.
I think in primary schools, you do not have CCA points. So when you put your child in enrichment or CCAs, I think the point here is not to gather points so that they can get into secondary school. But there is a larger perspective here as you are training them with some life skills, right? Okay. But however, if your child is very good in a particular CCA or has a special talent, he or she can be admitted to a school based on direct school admission. And that is if there is a fit between your child's talent as well as the school's niche area. So for example, if your child now is very good in basketball, he can check out all the schools that take in students through the direct school admission through basketball. And he may be invited to go for an audition or a trial, and then he may be offered a place in the school pending the PSLE results. Yeah. Okay.
So there are no points as such?
No,
Yeah.
not at the primary school level.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was a bit worried, because other than the academic result, does this also plays a role? Okay.
But I think it is important to still expose your child at the primary school level to different activities, because I think here it is not the points that matter, but the overall learning experience of your child.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I just want to illustrate also the point that the CCA you put your child in is not solely for the purpose of DSA or that, if you play basketball, you can only go for a school with DSA basketball. I just give an example. I just mentioned my school is strong in hockey. But you go and ask, how many primary schools offer hockey? You'll find very few schools. So the point is, if I were to run a DSA today, if I'm a school strong in hockey and I were to run a DSA, I wouldn't be asking only hockey students. But if I know your child is very strong in sports, again, let's say using the example of basketball, that means you may have certain kinesthetic skills, you may be very fit and athletic, and you may have an interest to continue in the area of sports. Then as a DSA school, I say, I'm willing to consider your child, if your child is interested, of course, in hockey, or willing to take up the challenge. So the point is, when you go into a CCA, don't just think in that linear fashion. If it's basketball, you can only go to a school for basketball. But if you feel that your child, you would like them to be more physically active, to have the athletic skills, then go into sports and games. But if you feel your child is talented and interested in the performing arts, by all means, again, go into that area.
Right, thank
But
you.
if I could just say, just one more piece of advice, check out the school's DSA criteria first, because each school can set its own criteria. Okay, so I think it is very important for you to check out some of the schools you're interested in and their specific criteria. Okay, because not all schools have the same criteria.
Regarding the AED you mentioned, is there a listing in MOE as to which schools have support for children with special needs?
Okay, the quick answer is today, if you go into, when you get the posting booklet or you check the MOE website, there are only two main areas where schools are specially marked out as resource centers. One is for autism, the other one is for dyslexia. Okay, because these are currently the two most common that we encounter at the secondary school. So instead of spreading the children with special needs all over the schools, we try to put them together to provide focused support. For the other areas, at this point, it's not listed per se, but then again, it's good to just, when you go visit the school website or visit the school itself, to find out the kind of resources that they have. So if they mention, in their website that they have an EED, LBS, that provide certain programs, or they have special counseling programs, or special, pupil development programs, that will also give you a hint that they are able to support.
I would like to, I have actually a girl, a P6 girl, and she knows that she wants to take a MEP program. But right now there are only a couple of schools offering MEP program. And the problem is she's very, very interested in Chinese orchestra. And the MEP program schools that offer Chinese orchestra, the cut-off points is not to her standard. She's not comfortable. So I would like to know, should we choose a school that is MEP, or should we choose a school that is offering Chinese orchestra, as this is also her interest?
I think there are a lot of assumptions you are making in this question, so thank you very much, Mr. Chua, for asking that question. But I would just attempt to alleviate some of your concerns here. I think ultimately it does depend, because some of the MEP schools, as you have mentioned, there are certain cut-off point. Okay, so at the end of the day, you just look at the cut-off point of your child at the PSLE exam, and it is quite near one of the MEP schools, you may put that as your first choice. But my advice to parents is always be happy with your second and third choice. So while you may opt for the first choice, and if your child is able to get into the MEP school, then I think it is a win-win situation, right? But if your child is not able to get into the MEP school because there is a cut-off, then I think it is important for you to choose your second, third, or even fourth choices that are within your child's PSLE T-score, but the schools that offer Chinese orchestra. So your second, third, and fourth choices are still very important. In fact, all 6 choices are very important. But if Chinese orchestra and that musical aspect is crucial to your child, then I think at least the first 4 choices should include that musical choice there. Okay. So ultimately, I think you have to ask your child, do you know what is it that you like about the MEP program? Because the MEP program teaches very broad musical things. So if, let's say, your child does not do Chinese orchestra, will he or she be able to cope or be happy with the MEP program? Because he will not be learning anything about Chinese orchestra, but other aspects of music. So what is more important to your child? Learning music or developing the talent in Chinese orchestra? So if learning music as a whole is important, doesn't matter what musical instrument is important, then I think go for the MEP program. But if your child looks at the MEP program and say, I'm not interested in any of these things, I'm not interested in music theory, I only want to develop well in Chinese orchestra, then it might not make sense for your child to opt for the MEP program. It might be better for your child to opt for Chinese orchestra. Yeah.
Right, thank you, Ms. Chong. Yeah. At this juncture, I just want to bring to your attention the 2 brochures that you have received when you came registration. Yeah, I think one of it is your child's education finding the right fit. So it summarizes the detailed things that the 2 principals have shared, as well as Jeffrey. But more importantly, it provides the website. All right, the website of further details that you can find. Okay, so I hope you can go back and read through. Now, the other handout is the education and career guidance, nurturing your child aspiration. As what Jeffrey has shared with us, one of the important things is for us as parents to help our child find the relevance in whatever thing he or she is doing. And the relevance can come about when you are able to cultivate his self-efficacy, as well as goal setting and all these things. So this is actually a portal that MOE has developed. Starting from primary 5 onwards up to JC, all students got an account. So as parents, you can sit down with your child, go into this portal, explore. Some of the assessment tools include a self-assessment as well as possible subject combinations, type of secondary school you are interested in to choose when you are at primary 6, etc. Okay, so it's again a very useful resource material for us. Okay, so all right, to sum up this afternoon seminar, all right, so many things for us, even for me also. But I think if we were to forget all those things that we have here, what are three key things that we must remember? Okay, so I try my best to share with all of you. Okay, I think 3 key messages for us to take away are, when helping our child select a secondary school, some important considerations include A, understanding our child's strength, needs, and interests, and B, understanding the school culture, environment, program, the niche area, as well as the various school-based curriculum. All right, so that is the first important message that we have to remember. And the second important message comes from Mr. Ong. CCAs are an integral part of our child overall development. Why is that so? Because CCA help to nurture qualities such as resilience, tenacity, confidence, perseverance, and leadership in our child. And these are very important to prepare them to adapt and to thrive in our ever-changing world. All right, and the third important message comes from Jeffrey. Parents can help the child stay motivated to do well in their education effort by two aspects. All right, firstly, to develop and safeguard the self-efficacy of the child, all right, to help to build the self-confidence, and secondly, to help the child consistently set goal, and goal need not have to be long, in 10 or 20 years into the future, but intermediate goal, all right. And at this point, I also wish to echo the comments made by our minister that every school in our midst is a good school. What is important really is one that we as parents choose one that can boost our child's confidence in developing his or her academic pursuit, and also a school that can help our child develop his other talents and abilities. Right? So on this note, I really want to thank you for being such a wonderful audience, and I really wish you every success in working with your child to choose an appropriate school. All right, thank you, and I wish you a good afternoon and a great weekend ahead.